What's going on, YouTube? I'm back. It is the trucking block. I am the trucking block. I wanted to holler at you about the past 3 videos I put up in regards to Variant. And I'm reiterate that they fixed every issue I had. Now, I've been hearing some very, I thought, because I watch Bonehead Truckers, from time to time, and I see him, the creator on that channel, he makes fun of Swift and Western Express all the time, right? He calls Swifty Swift, and he uses their name as an acronym for swing wide. It's a freaking trailer. And Western Express, he makes fun of them too. But the things I've been hearing about Western Express recently, including the lawsuits on them charging employees ridiculous amounts of money for lease purchase programs and damages to trucks that they didn't do, on top of employees suing for wages unpaid, horror stories about the orientation, teaming and everything else, and the lies that the recruiters tell over there is crazy. So I had to make a video bigging up my company, because this will be my 3rd company, even though technically it's a spinoff of USX. It is its own entity. And I have to say that by far it's the best one out of all 3 that I've worked for. We had some hiccups in the beginning, as far as the travel and finding a truck. And I think if they had a truck from the beginning to put me in, I would have no complaint. Because they would just had a truck from the get-go, and I wouldn't have spent time at that raggedy hotel. I wouldn't have got to run around with a USX truck where the AC didn't work, that they were trying to put me in temporarily until they got a brand new 21 Freightliner. I wouldn't have dealt with none of that. So other than that, I wouldn't have had no complaints, because they fixed everything. They gave me bonuses, they gave me breakdown pay, and they've kept me moving since I've came out here on the road. And here recently, the only thing I can complain about is being stuck on the East Coast, which, if you're a company driver, it just is what it is. You come over to the East Coast, it's hard getting out of here. Like, you get stuck here for like a week and a half, because you get bounced back and forth from PA to Maryland to Kentucky to South Carolina, North Carolina. But that wasn't no issue either. I made a call to Variant, because even though I don't have a fleet manager, I was able to talk to a dispatcher, and she was able to go in and reset my PTA, which I had to do anyway. I would have got a different load anyway. But when I reset my PTA, it put me on a load going to Indiana, going to the Midwest. No big deal. I didn't have to fuss about it. I didn't have to ask about it again. It just happened. But I just want to say some good things about my company. For starters, the pay is good. It's good. It's not awesome like 70 cents per mile, but you got to consider we're talking dry van. I don't have any endorsements. It's not a dedicated. I'm not getting paid to unload. I'm not getting paid per load. It's not, LTL or anything like that. It's just straight up dry van over the road. So you got to consider that when you think about the pay. The pay is awesome. You can go anywhere from, I believe, 56 cents per mile to 60 cents per mile, starting off with Variant, depending on your experience. With me, I got caught in the middle because I was already doing a dedicated dollar account through USX when I got shifted over to this. And technically I wasn't an outside hire, like fully outside hire. I just transferred, so they just kept me at the same pay and did it per diem. So I didn't lose my pay when I transferred, so I'm making 58 cents per mile over the road. which just a couple years ago, solo, when I was a rookie, was still am a rookie, at least until you hit your 5 years. But I'm 2 years deep now. But back when I first started, I was making like 37 cents per mile. So, I mean, 58 cents per mile, no touch freight is pretty good, considering that I did 51 cents per mile JB Hunt Aldi account with JB Hunt, where I had to use a pallet jack and sometimes touch freight. And then with the dollar account, 58 cents per mile, touching all freight with a bonus. And I sacrificed my bonus to come over to Variant because I heard such good things. And so far, they lived up to everything they told me. It's a YouTuber named Dollface. At first, I was mad because I was like, man, everything she said, it didn't happen like that. But I got to consider the time period I came in. She came in when they had a brand new truck for her. I came in when there was no trucks available, and I got bounced around from hotel to terminal until a truck became available. And even then, they compensated me for it. But I mean, I have a 2020 Cascadia. It's virtually new. Like I said before in my previous video, I believe they had 40,000. I can't quite remember exactly, but it didn't have over 70,000 for sure. I could say, I'll give you that range. It didn't have over 70,000 for sure. Well taken care of, very clean, and you could tell that the shop didn't have to do a bunch of cleaning to get it to where it was. Whoever had it before was a clean person. It didn't smell. It actually smelled good when I got in here the first time. Well taken care of. No scratches, no nicks, no scrapes, no damage to anything in here. The only thing that was taken apart was the little vent piece that goes over the bunk that's attached to the outside, the external AC unit that's attached to the back. And I just put that back up. I just clipped it back in place. Like I said, to keep me moving. As soon as I drop a load, it's like less than 5 minutes later, I'm put on something else. Well, let me take that back. Not that. It's usually pre-planned before I even drop it, and then less than 5 minutes later, I'm dispatched. I'm good to go. I can literally drop my trailer, do my paperwork. I still scan my documents. A lot of drivers don't do that because we use the USX back office. We use their payroll and stuff like that. So payroll goes through as soon as you complete the load. But I like to scan my documents still. I still scan my documents no matter what. That way I have documentation of it, because it's not that they're going to do something janky. It's just in the past with USX, and it's nobody's fault, things didn't work out the right way, so I had to call, and then payroll was like, oh, you didn't get the scan, so just in case, I scan everything. But by the time I'm done scanning, I'm dispatched. I got navigation rolling. I'm ready to go. What else? These trucks are governed to 68. When I was with JB Hunt, it was 65, 64 for the most part, because you couldn't really do 65 all the time with a day cab international. I know USX, I was governed to 66, and now I'm at 68. Which, I know some of you guys are probably going to laugh and be like, well, I'm an owner-op. I can do whatever I want to do. Hey, as a company driver, being able to do 68 in a brand new truck, that's decent. They don't really babysit you. There's no... And you can tell by the tone of my voice, talking a bit proper and relaxed. Like, they don't really hawk over your shoulder. They're not looking over your shoulder every hour, trying to figure out where you're at and what you're doing. I've had not one dispatcher or supervisor call me since I've been out here, unless I contact them for something. And that's not because they're being negligent. It's just they're letting a quality driver be a quality driver, and that's what I am, a quality driver. I get the job done. I do it correctly and safely and on time. I might be 10 minutes late or 10, well, No more than 10 minutes late. I'll just put it like that. I've never been more than 10 minutes late. I get the loads there on time. And that's even with traffic and everything. I always pre-plan, and I get the loads there safely every time. Excuse me. Like I said, they don't honk over you. I will say they're short-staffed on dispatch at this very moment, so it's hard to get someone on the line immediately. But when you do, I have noticed the level of customer service is a lot better than other companies from what I hear. I hear horror stories all the time of how drivers are treated like slaves, as if they're expected to do the job and then some. I get home time whenever I want it. I can go home every 6 days. I can go home every 12 days, but I'm choosing to do every 14 days, at least. When they do give me my home time, I've had it twice already, and I've put it in again for next week. And before I go on, when I put in my home time, it's approved like within an hour. And I've done it 3 times so far, and it's been approved within an hour. I don't have to wait all day or call or check on it again. It's approved. This one's already approved. The next one I got. But like I was saying, you don't have, with the home time, you don't have to beg for anything, and it's not going to be a perfect system where you get home at the exact time that you asked for on your home time. Like previous time I asked for home time, I asked for time off on a Friday at midnight. I mean, I ended up getting there Friday 8 a.m. Okay, I'm not going to cry about that. I at least got home Friday 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. And the cool thing about it is, when I got there at that time, and a couple days had passed, and they gave me a load. Right when they gave me the load, I also received a call. And like I said, they don't check on me like that. So when I got the call, I was shocked to get a call. But when I got the call, the young lady on the phone was like, well, I was just calling as a courtesy to see if you wanted to go ahead and take this load that you're already pre-planned on, because you can. I know you got home later than what you put in for your home time, or if you want, you can take the extra time until the next day to get your full time that you originally wanted. Even though it's not the exact time you wanted originally, we can compensate for the time, the 8 hours or so that you didn't. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I ended up staying home longer, half a day, due to that. It was more than half a day, because the next load actually got pre-planned. It was out a little further, like 12 hours, but I appreciated that. I took the extra 12 hours off because I did get home later than what I projected. But they care about the drivers, and I'm gonna tell anyone that is new, experienced, come to Variant. Now, if you're owner op, they don't have that option right now, and they'll tell you that they're not set up for that right now. But if you are a company driver and you're looking for a company to treat you with respect, come to Variant. And I'm not trying to get any bonuses or anything for this, because I'm not even an ambassador. I should ask about it, because it is a nice program, but as just a regular driver for them, I suggested everything I've requested since I've gotten this truck. It was a little rocky getting to the truck, but once I got this truck, everything I asked for, they give it. I asked to be routed to a terminal previously. They did it. They let me go to the terminal so I could wash my clothes, and I explained to them, hey, I gotta wash my clothes, and I'd rather go there instead of a truck stop. And he was like, go for it. If you got time, go for it. Personal conveyance, USX took that away, but I had a load on my first home time that went to the caves, and I ended up running out of time. And the dispatcher I talked to, he couldn't do anything about it, but he took the time to contact logs for me. And by the time I was about to call again, I got a call from them asking what the situation was, and I told them what was going on, and they were like, well, look, it's going to say you're violating, but go ahead and do what you have to do, and we'll fix it later on. That way your logs are correct. And by the time I got home and parked the truck, I got a message on my EOD to approve the times that were fixed. So they stay on top of everything. They try to keep you comfortable. I've noticed anytime I've had a concern or a question, it might take them a minute to get back to you. And I know that some days I've probably gotten under the skin of a few dispatchers because I'm not being a butt about it, but I always call back to double check on things. And I've even had a dispatcher tell me one time, like, hey, Mr. Block, for sure, I'll get it done for you, I could tell. And he got it done. It might take them an hour or two, but they get it done. They will get it done. Not a bad company, man. There's no pressure. And I'm just being honest. When I was with USX, there was pressure. You were constantly being checked on by your fleet manager. I did notice with the dollar account when I came back to USX after leaving JB Hunt, I did notice that it wasn't so pushy. It was still kind of pushy, but not so much, because they would call and check on me. But then, somewhere in the conversation, they would apologize and say, hey, I'm not trying to babysit you or nothing, or it's something to that effect. We're just trying to make sure that, you have enough time, or this is getting done, that is getting done. So I think USX has adopted that trend as well from Variant, or unless that's just the thing USX had rolling out already and Variant took notes. But I will say, I've had no issues. I've had your typical driver frustrations with traffic patterns and stuff like that has nothing to do with Variant, but since I've been here, it's been straight, man. It's been straight. And I even watched an interview with a Variant driver, and the guy was like, nah, this is too good to be true. There's gotta be some lies in there or something. You amping it up, or people saying you doing it for the money, and the young lady was like, no, I'm not. And I felt her on that. Like, that was the first time I actually watched an interview about this magical company and the drivers bigging it up, and I actually could back it up with her, like, nah, it's really like that over here. And I don't think it's changing. They have not shown me different at all, though. Like I said, every time something arises, it's small. Like when I didn't want to be stuck on the East Coast and I called, they handled it. The dispatchers not answering calls on time, it's not their fault, because they're short staffed right now. But when they do answer, like the two people I talked to today were very nice. Very nice. And everybody I've talked to previous to that have been very nice and patient. I have nothing bad to say about the company. So the title's gonna be clickbait. So you can be mad at me about that, but I have nothing to say about this company. Okay? I don't. Huh? What, you thought I was gonna complain about it like Western Express? I'm not laughing at you Western Express drivers. I mean, let me know in the comments if it's different at Western Express, because if it is, hey, let me know, because I haven't seen anything different but negative. The most recent video I just watched, because I'm shut down here, and where am I at right now? Where are we at right now, Ronald? Where is this place? I forgot where I shut down at. Ain't this about a Dillon, South Carolina? That's where I'm at right now, at a Love's in Dillon, South Carolina. I pushed 20 miles outside of route to get to a safe haven, and I'll be heading to North Carolina tomorrow. I gotta pick up in a live load in Shelby, North Carolina, and it's going to Indiana. Yes, sir. And when I get to Indiana, I'm going to be 20 miles from the terminal, so I'm going to ask Variant, can I go wash my clothes after I finish this load? And I'm pretty sure they're going to say yes. I'm just going to bank on it. I put money on it. They're going to tell me yes. Yes, Mr. Block, go ahead. Go wash your clothes. See, if I was still at USX, hey, no diss to USX, y'all. I'm just telling it like it is. If I was still at USX, they would they would pre-plan me on a load and expect for me to go. They'd be like, well, if you can go by there on the way. No, see, with Variant, I say, hey, I need to wash my clothes. Okay, just set your PTA out. Go ahead. So, if you with old Swifty Swift, Western Express, like Suge Knight, you don't want your fleet manager all in your truck, trying to tell you how to drive, checking on where you at all the time, babysitting you. Come to Variant. Oh, snap, man. Don't be mad at me. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just letting you know. You want to make a decent amount of money with guaranteed miles? Because I'm going to keep it funky with you. This pay period here, I got 3,000 miles. They say the average is 2,500. I have 3,000 miles. Now, mind you, I was a little nervous at the beginning of this pay period because I got a bunch of shorties, a bunch of short runs. But the optimizer system that they use to dispatch you on loads, it moves so quick and it's so intelligent. It does what it's named. It's named after what it does. It optimizes. So when I'm done with this one, it will have another one ready for me as soon as I set up my PTA to go do laundry. Oh yeah. So you want to get good miles, you want a brand new truck, come to Variant. Just keeping it funky with you, that's all. And yeah, it might fizzle out over time. They might not have brand new trucks over time, but you got to think. I mean, even when you go to the dealership to finance your own truck, it's going to be used with at least 300,000 miles on it. So what? You get a 2020 or 2021 Cascadia with a couple 100,000 on it. It's still a new truck. Still a lot of miles on it. Not to mention, you can talk about freight shakers all you want to, but you don't see these bad boys in the shop all the time, do you? No. Now, they have been talking about, I've heard whispers of Kenworths coming into the fleet. I would hope they don't bring internationals into the fleet. It's my least favorite truck, but I've heard whispers of it. And I've also heard whispers of Variant branching off on his own. And I hope it does. Because to the president of Variant, you've done a very good job, sir. I don't know if you're a former driver or what, but you guys got it figured out. You know how to make your driver happy. I'll tell you what. I asked for a pay advance. I got my pay advance. Now, I will say they took it out of that very next check. They don't play. But I got my pay advance. Other companies mess you around and tell you they're going to give it to you and then don't give it to you. I've heard the stories, Western Express. Come talk to me, Western Express drivers. What's the deal, man? Hey, I even parked in between two Western Express drivers last night. I didn't talk to neither one of them, but both their trucks look raggedy. My son in the truck, their trucks were raggedy, wasn't they, son? Ronald, the Western Express trucks, weren't they raggedy? Yeah, he nodded his head, yeah. Them things were raggedy. Paint was missing on them and everything. What's going on over there? Huh? Y'all making all that money. You can't put your driver in no decent truck? I ain't gonna say everyone. I've seen some nice Western Express trucks. But get away from them ugly Volvos, man. Straight up, man. And put some paint on your fender. The two I parked in between, paint was missing from it. It wasn't from the driver hitting stuff. It was literally paint cracking and peeling and coming off the hood. Because, you know, the hood is like all one big old piece anyway, right? It was cracking and peeling on the side of the fender around the lights. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, did they hit something? They hit nothing. These are 2020 models. What is going on? What kind of paint are you using, Western Express? Let me know. Furthermore, drivers, I'm not an expert on semis. Okay? I'm not an expert. But I did a little bit of digging, and I went to Cascadia's website, or Freightliner's website, and I said Cascadia. I went to the website, clicked on Cascadia's, and I got to rolling through the models just to see exactly what model most of these companies are buying. Variant actually bought a nice version, a nice model. I forgot the exact model number, but this one is actually the extended. It has a bigger sleeper. Companies can get smaller sleepers, and for what I've seen, most companies get small sleepers. Now this Pam Transport sitting next to me, parked at this truck stop, he has an extended Peterbilt. I can tell that sleeper huge. But most companies I see out here, they get the regular bottom line Freightliner. Variant got some decent Freightliners, man. Now the only thing I'm gonna put a zonk on is they didn't get the upgraded radio, which most 2020 internationals came with, because I drove a lot of them things. Hate internationals. But they had the new radio to where you didn't have to connect your phone every time you turn off your truck. Because you know, with these old radios, you have to connect your phone Bluetooth every time you turn off the truck or turn it on. With the new version, it just memorizes it. It has a different face and volume button and everything. The other zonk would be there's no radio controls on the steering wheel of the Freightliner, besides the volume. And there's no automatic lock button. That's it. That's it. Not only that, Variant is going to give you a decent size inverter. The inverter in here is huge. I got so many plug-ins around this truck, is ridiculous. And they make sure you have a fridge in your truck when you pick it up. I have a fridge in here that I didn't buy. Came with it from Freightliner, matter of fact. Stock. The only thing they didn't do was a microwave, which, I mean, whatever. I don't microwave most of my food anyway. But I just wanted to tap in to clarify on the last 3 videos. I didn't want, a supervisor or someone from marketing Variant watch the video and get misconstrued on how I really feel. I'm not mad at the company at all. I'm just mad at the process to get transferred over. It didn't go very smooth. And part of it was USX dropping the ball, because even though my previous fleet manager, he was a nice guy and everything, and he was a previous driver on top of that, that's what surprised me. He should have, when I first told him that Kenworth I had was shooting craps, he should have been on top of it then. Shouldn't have waited to get transferred. Because this is my belief. I kind of believe he was just like, well, he's going to Variant anyway, oh well. That's how he treated it. Instead of being like, your truck's really has issues? Well, how about we just leave it here? Because I would have rather just left it in Warrensburg and let them figure it out. Which they can do that. I've had a fleet manager do that before at that account, at that same location. When I worked there previously, I had a truck that shot craps, and she told me to leave the truck there. And when they shipped her a brand new 2020 International at the time, because it was brand new at that time, the thing only had like 10,000 miles. She put me in it. Did I deserve it? I mean, I ain't gonna say I did. It's probably a driver that had more experience than me that deserved it, but she gave it to me because I needed something to drive immediately, and handled it. This guy was like, good luck. But anyway, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I don't have a fleet manager. Okay. I have a load optimizer. You got a fleet manager, don't you? You got you a fleet manager, dog? Come on over to Variant, man. Get this easy money, man. Easy money. Easy money. You stay moving. You stay moving. Okay? My very first load was to the West Coast. Laredo, Texas. Right there on the border. 1,100 miles off the flip. And then from there, it just kept rolling. Load after load after load after load after load. The most downtime I ever had was today, where my son and I sat at a Walmart distribution center after dropping a trailer for about 30 minutes. It wasn't even a full 30 minutes, but I guess the optimizer was figuring out things, because when I called the first time and spoke to a lady today, she told me that sometimes it's just trying to figure out the best time usage, so it might flip it onto another driver, which she said the load I had was a good load. She's like, you got a good load now, but it might flip it over to another driver once you update your PTA. And it did. It did. So it took a half hour, but it did give me another load for about the same mile. So I'm not gonna cry about it, you know. And it was only, and this load here is only altogether, I believe, let me look it up real quick, 198 miles to the live load situation at this place. I forgot the name of the place already, but let me get into here real quick. Yeah, 198 miles, I'm sorry, 185 miles empty, and then 535 miles loaded. And so I'm pretty much good there, you know, almost 800 miles. That'll put me around 3,000 miles for the pay period. And as a bonus, I'm gonna be 20 miles away from the terminal, so I get to wash my clothes. Not my favorite terminal, the Indianapolis terminal. It's so small in there. I hate going in there with a trailer, and being that Variant is using USX as a parent company right now, I gotta take my trailer with me. Or is it, I didn't even take the time. Look at me, I'm talking about I'm a good driver. I know I'm being live loaded. Am I being live unloaded? Because the trailer before the last one I had that thing for a whole week with 3 different loads. live load, live unload. The same trailer, 004730. I still remember the number. Let's see, Home Goods. Yeah, it's a drop. I'm dropping it. So I'll find it empty there, wherever I'm at, that Home Goods warehouse. I'll find it empty, and I'll take it over to the Indianapolis terminal, or the I forgot the exact name of it. I called it the Indianapolis because it ain't far, but the Indiana terminal, I'm going over there, and I am going to take a nice hot shower for free, wash my clothes for free. Yeah. Oh, that too. I forgot that. Truck wash. I don't know what's going on with Variant and USX right now, but I know with USX you get 1 free wash a month. I don't know. I have to check with someone in Variant. I keep forgetting to ask because it's irrelevant. I have a power washer at my house, and I drive my truck to my house. That's the other dope thing too. They want you to take your truck home, but I take my truck straight to my house. I just wash it there. But anyways, when I did go get a truck wash in Laredo, Texas, on the border there, I ran into a hiccup there. I had to either pay out of pocket and they reimbursed me, or they put the money on my card and I pay with that and they still reimburse me. So I went with the option for them to put the money on my fuel card and they'll reimburse me, which they did on my check. It showed up on my check. I don't think, I have to check with some. I don't think we get one free wash a month or Variant. But it doesn't even matter to most us Variant drivers because we take our truck home. I mean, you got plenty of time in your off time to wash your truck. Now, some people are like, oh, I'm off duty, I ain't washing my truck. But I like to be in a clean truck, so when my son and I go home this time, he gonna help me too. I'm pulling out the ladder and I'm washing it. But I figure I'd get on here, get on Western Express nerve a little bit, talk bad about them, because I've been hearing some horror stories, man. I thought it was all jokes. Okay, I've been out here a couple years. I always heard bad things, but here lately I've been seeing more and more. And every time I see a Western Express truck on the road, I don't know, man. The driver doesn't look that happy every time I pass him. What's up with y'all, man? And all that talking about, oh, they're hiring felons and all that. Everybody got it passed. You know what I'm saying? You can't judge nobody. You don't know what they went through, what they had going on. So I ain't gonna make fun of that part. I've heard that rumor about Western Express. Don't make fun of that, because you don't know what a person's history is and why they went through it. I'm gonna say, and this might be controversial, but I'm gonna say at least 60% of felons are innocent. It's just the way the government is set up. You know, the government, has, the court of law, which I halfway believe in it myself. There's some justice, but for the most part, there's injustice, because people that deserve justice normally don't get it, and people that don't deserve it usually get it, and they are able to go back out into the world and commit more crimes. So with that being said, all the people you're making fun of that have a record, that work for that company, don't do that, because you don't know their history, the story, or what they went through. That's on a serious note. As far as Swift, I ain't got too much to say about Swift. I haven't, just from my experience, maybe because don't get mad at me, Swift drivers, okay? Don't get mad at me. But if you park next to me, you park next to this gray Variant truck, V as in Vicky 10311, she gonna be moved, okay? I'm sorry, okay? I've had drivers that work for USX that I ran into tell me horror stories of having their nose ripped off by a Swift trailer. I don't want no parts of that, okay? But I don't have much to say about it because I've never seen it in person. I've never seen it in person. I always stop and be on my rest and watch a YouTube video, and it'd be like a Swift truck tearing off the nose of a pretty Kenworth or something. Or a K-Dub 900. Ooh. Oh, that makes me cringe so bad when they do them old school K-Dubs like that. Oof. Swing wide. It's a friggin' trailer, Swift. Oh, Swifty Swift. Hey, you're gonna have your good drivers everywhere and your bad drivers too. So I mean, it's an equal balance. For the most part, I'm not gonna lie, these schools are pushing out students at a rapid rate, and they're not properly trained. See, I was properly trained. I'm not a fan of Warner, but that's another story time I can give you. If you go back to my believe it's my first or second video, I explain why I don't like Warner in there. Then you'll know my disdain for them. But as far as their school roadmaster, it's a good school. And unfortunately for them, they should have took me on as a driver, because here I am a couple years later and I'm doing well. But shout out to Roadmaster, even though they terminated all my old instructors. And my instructors were million milers. Like, they had plenty of experience. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly how to explain it, how to put it in your mind to understand. All walks of life, they would get people through the exam. And we're not talking about just setting you up for the exam. They would actually teach you why you are doing it. Not just, we'll do it like this, turn your wheel 2 times that way and 1 time that way, and you'll get it imperfect. No, they would explain why you were doing that. Now, I'm not going to lie. There was some people in my class where they just did what they asked them to do, and they ended up failing the exam when they went. But that's because they didn't listen to why the instructor was telling them to, jackknife their trailer this way, or turn the wheel that way, or set up like this, or they weren't listening. Pay attention to your lines on this side when you make your turns. A lot of people didn't listen to that and ended up failing the exam. But me and one other guy out of my class, I think we started off with like 10 people or something like that, and only me and 2 other guys flawlessly passed the test. There was an older white guy. He went a week before me and the other guy I was with, and he passed the test first go around, and then I passed the test the first go around, and then the other guy I was with, he passed the test first go around. But everybody else failed because they weren't listening, paying attention. So shout out to Roadmaster. They got a good program over there. It's a bit expensive, but it is worth the money. Don't go to one of those schools talking about, hey, give me $300, I have your CDL in 3 days. That is not what you want to do. You're not getting no experience behind the wheel, no time behind the wheel for real. You're just getting just enough time to learn a couple maneuvers and go straight down the road and make a couple turns to pass the exam. That's what those schools are designed for. The ones that are cheap, that's what they're designed for, to just get you moving properly enough to pass the exam. But there's more to this trucking than just pass an exam. And even after you go through school, you still haven't learned everything yet, because there's a lot to learn out here. I'm still learning every day. Because what they don't teach you at school, depending on your area too, what they don't teach you in school is how to deal with 3% grades, 6% grades, with a heavy load, and all kinds of different weather conditions, depending on when you go to school. Unfortunately, I'm going to say unfortunately, let me say it right, I'm messing up. Unfortunately, when I was done with school and was hired on to USX, I went straight into the winter months with my trainer. But I just have a natural skill to learn fast, and we never had a moment where he was afraid of me being behind the wheel. I had to learn fast though, over ice, snow, whatever. And then even then, when I went solo, we had a huge winter storm hit the United States all over. And I drove from East Coast, West Coast, North, South, rain, hail, sleet, snow, solo, in a Kenworth. My first month alone. With blizzards and everything. So the school's not going to teach you that kind of driving. That's stuff you have to learn as you go. I've killed a cow so far out here. Hey, he was standing in the middle of the road. I think the farmer purposely put him out there because it was like no hole in the fence and any tracks from the field. Like, he was just standing there in the middle of the road. And I didn't swerve or slam on the brakes all crazy. I eased on the brakes. I kind of veered close as I could to the middle line on that 2-lane highway. because I was thinking in my head, like I said, I learned fast. I was thinking in my head when I was coming up on them, I was doing 50 and a 55. When I came up over that hill and I saw him, I just let off the gas. I kind of, I didn't stab the brake, but I paddled the brake, slowed it down to about 40, let the truck coast to that center line a little bit, and clipped them with the side of the passenger side of the bumper. It only took off a piece of bumper, about 2 feet of bumper. Didn't damage the light, didn't damage the frame. Broke the cow's neck, killed him instantly. He went spinning into the ditch on the side of the road. So I've had that happen. They don't teach you that in school. You have deer. I really learned about deer working for JB Hunt, because you go down some dark back country highways working the Aldi's account out of Olathe, Kansas. And them things would jump out, or I could see them far ahead. Maybe it's different for me, but I say me and a few other drivers talked about it when I was there, but it's like me and these few other guys, like we didn't hit none, and everybody else was hitting them. And when we talked to them, we were like we can see them far ahead. Like I can see them moving their eyes. I can see them far ahead. I never came close to one. Never had to slam on the brakes. I did one time in broad daylight. Came to a complete stop in the middle of a 3-lane highway. 2 lanes on my side, 1 lane on the other side. Had a truck passing lane for up the hill, but I was empty. In broad daylight, he just stopped in the middle of the road and was looking at my truck. So I stopped, came to a complete stop slowly, didn't have to slam on the brakes, he walked across. And I've also seen a moose. And the moose I saw was in Colorado, and he was like bucking towards the truck. So I slowed down in, but he didn't do nothing. I was like, thank God. And then when I passed him, I still see it to this day. Like it's still in the vision is in my head now of that moose's head, like looking through the passenger window when I crept by him. Like, dude was tall. I did not know moose were that big. Hopefully I could show my son one, because he ain't seen one in person. Them things are huge. I don't see how truck drivers survive hitting them things. I heard guys that got killed by them dang on things. Their antlers get through the windshield. Things are huge. But anyway, I'm sitting here rambling on about a bunch of random things. Point blank period. Get your experience with a decent school. I suggest Roadmaster. Okay? You can pay it off in one lump sum. I believe it's close to $8,000. Or you can do a loan process like I did. And if you get with Variant, since they're using USX as their back office, USX has tuition reimbursement. Might want to check into that, because I don't pay a lick to my school loan at all. I did when I was with JB Hunt, because they don't do that there, but USX, they make my student loan payments for me. I don't pay nothing. And they pay extra. My payment is supposed to be $170 a month. They pay $200. So that's also something to consider. So get your training. Take your time. And I know it's gonna feel like sometimes, if you're like me, you're gonna feel like, if you're like me, I'm gonna say if you're like me, because not everybody's like that. I have a natural talent for learning how to operate heavy machinery quickly. I learned how to operate remote locomotive quickly, to the point where the guys I were training with were like, it's like I got a helper out here. They even joked with me, because my dad works at the railroad too. They were like, have you been practicing with your dad? I just learned quick. Bobcats, backhoes, forklifts, pneumatic, electric, stand-up, sit-down. It didn't matter. Whatever I've ever gotten my hands on, even a a 10-speed Kenworth water truck. I learned that in one day. Less than that, like in an hour. I was shifting gears like it was nothing. Like, I just learned fast. So if you're like me and you learn fast, don't rush. Because that's what I had to learn. I was like, well, I'm learning it. I'm doing it. I'm backing it up. You see me, I can parallel park. I'm getting cocky. But what I had to learn, it's a whole different ball of yarn once you have to park at a truck stop in between two pretty-ass Kenworths or Peterbilts or whatever that some guy that put $100,000 into with all the chrome and lights and stuff. He's got a $250,000 truck sitting there that he's got slammed to the floor, car hauler or some crap like that with two giant chrome stacks, and you don't want to hit it. Oh, you don't want to hit it. Oh, and that's also counter end too. Them trucks like that stick out further because they're stretched. The frame is longer, so you got to get around it, and you got a certain amount of room to get into it, so you got to alley dock into it. Or better yet, what I did last night, blindside. I had a blindside back into a parking spot. Once you get into those situations, yeah, you get humbled fast. So don't rush it. Take your time. Learn from it. Get out as many times as you need to. Don't get cocky and just try to shove the trailer back, because it's been days where I had to lay on the horn sitting at the truck stop smoking on a cigar like this, sitting in the seat. And I'll be sitting there minding my business. I see a guy pull up. He looking bewildered like the new guys do. He goes back, and then I gotta grab that horn. He's looking around, and I hop out. Hey man, you was about to hit that truck. And they look, oh man, thanks. So don't get the rushing. I am the type of guy that will help you. I will help you back in there, and I'll make sure you don't tear up your truck or somebody else's truck. I'm that type of guy. I'm not gonna be the one to hold the camera and say, look at old Swifty Swift tearing up stuff here. I'm gonna put this on Bonehead Truckers. I'm not that kind of guy. I do watch Bonehead Truckers. It makes me laugh sometimes, the situations that these drivers get themselves into. I don't understand it, but I'm not going to be the guy to make fun of you right there, because it's serious. This is your job. This is your livelihood. We're talking about your CDL. You don't want that on your DAC report or whatever. You want to make money. You don't want to stain on your record. Not only that, I hate that when they record it and just laugh at it from inside their cab, because the driver that's sleeping in their truck with the curtains pulled, he or she does not know what's going on outside, and then they hear a loud crunch and they get woken up, and now they're out of service. So the truck is ruined. So that's not cool to me. Like, I'm gonna at least get on the horn, get out, and help you back it in the right way, so you don't put that driver out of work and yourself out of work. Yeah, that driver will more than likely get another truck and be okay, as long as they're parked in a legal parking spot. Well, let me not say legal, because you know how that goes. But if they're in a marked parking spot at a truck stop, more than likely their company is not going to punish them. They'll get a new truck, but they do get put out of work for a little bit until they get another truck. And breakdown pay doesn't pay that much from company to company, from what I've learned, which Variant and USX are changing that. They're going up $100 from what I hear. But take your time. Don't rush it. Okay? Don't rush it. And you're not, don't feel discouraged because you get yourself in a position that you need help. Don't get discouraged. My blind side, I didn't necessarily need backing help last night, but I did have to communicate with a driver that was sticking out a little too far in the row ahead of me. I asked him, can he move back like 5 feet so my nose could swing around? So don't be afraid to communicate, get out and look, because that's what I did. I got out and I looked out, I assessed the situation. I said, I'm gonna need 5 feet on this side. I did that. Guy moved back, swung it right on in, blindside. Communicate, take your time. Don't get cocky. You don't know everything. I've seen 20-year vets tear their trucks up. Yeah, it can happen. You get complacent sometimes. It was a YouTuber that I used to watch before I even was trucking. When I was on the railroad, I was on a Jeff City run, and I was watching a lot of trucking videos then. It was an older guy. He's retired now and driving his RV around the country. But what put him into retirement was a video, his last trucking video. He was in his truck. I think he had a Peterbilt. And he just got him a fresh cup of joe. He was on a side road, or what do you call it, a frontage road. Some cities call them frontage roads. But he's on the side road going along the highway. He's about to get on the highway. You know, it's one of those left on-ramp situations. Kind of like how Texas is set up. And he was about to, you know, I think he was either exiting or getting on, one of the two. And the coffee spilt into his lap. Now, we're talking about a guy that's got over 20 years under his belt. He flipped that truck. So it can happen to the best of them. And this guy's been hauling since been hauling. Before I was born, I think he was driving trucks. Think about it now. I think it might have been over 30 years. I'm just going to say over 20 to be safe, because I don't have all the facts in front of me. But I was like, dang. That dude had tons of experience. And from that, he retired. Because a couple videos after that, he played around, you know, clickbait, like I'm about to put on here. Shopping for a new truck. He did that a couple videos. Then like the third video came, he was sitting in his office. He said, to be real with you guys, I'm retiring. I'm buying an RV. I'm done with it. This is not safe for me anymore. And that was a good decision, because he got complacent. He was doing something with the coffee mug and it spilled in his lap. He ended up flipping his truck. Owner op. Not lease purchase program, no crap. Like, he owned this truck. It was a nice truck too. So don't get cocky. It can happen to the best of them. So until then, keep it between the lines. Stay safe. You know, holler at Variant. You know, tell them Ron sent you. Ron Block. BLOCK. Just in case you want to hook me up. Anyway, this is the Trucking Block. I am the Trucking Block, and peace out.